We've gathered here today in a very, very special occasion. We're gonna be looking at a first song after 4 years of hiatus. So the first comeback in 4 years for a legendary Big Bang. Their new song, Still Alive, have just came out a couple of hours ago. And I have been so incredibly excited because Big Bang was one of my first bands that I've ever listened to from Korean scene. And just overall, this is what I used to party to with my friends. So it's just an incredible throwback for me. And I'm very excited for them to be back. And I'm excited how they matured up and what they're gonna bring to the table this time. So without any further ado, let's look at a Big Bang, Still Alive. If you are interested in everything singing and music related, then this is the right place for you, so please don't forget to subscribe. If you want to hear me singing, there's gonna be my second music channel linked down in the description, along with my webpage where you can find all the information about my singing lessons. So if you've ever thought about learning how to sing, or you would like to work with me on your voice, then head there. My little student family is incredibly inclusive, so we have a lot of different cultural backgrounds, different genres that we are focused on. So come and join us. And now let's get into it. Oh my god, look at the gorgeous aesthetics of that scene. That's beautiful. His voice is so gorgeous. It's such an already matured up tone quality, so you can tell that it's not a little boy kind of a tone quality. It's a grown up, very gorgeous. It has a lot of depth in it. It has a little bit of a huskiness there. Just so beautiful. Very balladic intro, just accompanied with a simple guitar, which I am so freaking happy with because his voice could just go solo. His voice could just be without absolutely any instrumental. So having it very bare and very simple, just with a guitar, let his voice really shine. Let us really enjoy that little moment there. So you can hear immediately the change in the tone quality. The technique is not that far from each other, but the tone quality is a much lower set. It's a little bit more throaty. So instead of oh, we get oh. So it's much more leaning down in the throat. It's really interesting because we've got this slight jump into a very different tone quality, but the whole background still is staying very bare, and we're still getting to focus on yet another beautiful voice. And we also just talk about their aesthetics. Like, they've always looked incredible, and they've always had their very signature style and have been trendsetters basically, but this time they're just there looking so good. You can tell how much more his voice is stylized in comparison to the other members, but he's been working on animating and stylizing his voice for years. So while they are focusing on more natural qualities in their voice, he is much more focused on actual tiny stylizations, on animating his voice, on a lot of details. That just made him so incredibly famous in the first place, so. You somehow even feel that he is very kind of clenched on. It's a certain way of creating a sound that has a very typical quality in it. It's really interesting that he chose to go with that style, but it's something that definitely is different from anything else that we usually hear. Also, I love his hair. That hair looks like he just slapped an entire rainbow in his hair and then just shook it a little. And this is like the unicorn result. I'm absolutely living for it. One little tiny detail through that mask, I'm pretty sure we would not be able to understand that so clearly. But I love the mask because it's kind of a throwback to good old days. So he has a little bit of a natural huskiness in his voice, but he fries, but a very tiny little bit. His voice is not bright by default. His voice is mature and grown up, so he doesn't have to add too much on top of it to make it heavier or a little bit darker. It already carries the flow and has that kind of a rough quality in it a little bit. But there is a fry here and there, a little bit. It was very obvious, especially here. That was a very special phrase for a lot of people who've been waiting for this comeback. Definitely. And it's really good to hear him singing as well. So it's nice to have his voice in a melody line as well, with his very relaxed, lower set, nicely anchored tone. It's almost like he's half whispering. It's very, very interesting. So it always starts with a little bit of diffusion and then finished with a much more pressured sound, so a little bit of a cleaner tone. Very interesting. You can immediately tell who is the designated belter of the group, even though I am aware that they would probably all be able to have a belt here and there, but this man's been built for it. Built for it. Nice switch into the voice, but not thinning it too much. You cannot hear too much in the obvious so super different to kind of tone qualities from natural and up to head voice. He made it very seamless. It was really beautiful. Very nicely done. Out of all of them, he has the most pronounced, most out there type of voice that is incredibly strong, and he can afford to do a little bit of this kind of a cries, tiny bit of a almost yodel in his voice. I love it because it brings a little bit of this dramatic feeling into singing and into the song as well. And at the very end, we got a tiny little fry. That was gorgeous. Okay, gorgeous little drums there. It reminded me a lot of Queen, actually. Also with the chorus immediately following after them. Very Queen-ish. I love it. How is this man so handsome? Look at him. He looks insane. Like, I mean, they are all looking fine, like fine, but this man is gorgeous. What the heck? They definitely stayed very true to themselves with this song. They are much more grown up and they are definitely in a different place in contrary to where they used to be before. But their musicality and artistry is still absolutely incredible, and even now on even a higher level. I love that we kind of started, opened and closed with a very, very simple intro and outro. Intro was kind of accompanied with a simple guitar and his voice, and now we get a very simple outro with just a very simple piano and his voice again. Ooh, that second head voice there. Gorgeous. Okay, so this was actually a very interesting choice. Probably we expected something faster, maybe some bop from them, but we actually got this beautiful balladic piece that is just absolutely stunning. It's so obvious how emotionally invested they were in this song. It is beautifully composed. It has really enough place, enough space for each of them to really shine and show us how much they changed throughout the years when it comes to the voice, when it comes to their stylization, and just where they are feeling at home the most. It has this gorgeous melancholy in it, and it's not just because of the usage of the very natural elements like piano, natural drums, natural guitar, but also because of how heavily we are focused on each of their vocals, on every single tiny part of their voice, even if it's huskiness, if it's a little bit of a nasal, like we could hear everything in their voice, and it felt so natural. And I believe that many fans been crying listening to this song. I got chills, I got goosebumps listening to it. I think it is a beautiful piece and a very strong comeback for these four men. I absolutely love how they honored their past, and at the same time how welcoming they're of their future. So let's all get together and celebrate this beautiful grande comeback of these four legendary men of this legendary group, and I'm very excited to see what else they have prepared for us, because if this is the doors slightly open, I really cannot wait to walk through them and see what's on the other side. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe right here. Here's the video that YouTube actually recommends for you, and here is the rest of my Korean reactions. Please stay safe and healthy. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.